extraordinary player.
They used to have a pretty good defense on the rest of Jim Johnson.
That's back
to Philly.
Okay,
yes.
back to Philly.
Yeah.
But the point is, now you got an Andy Reid with a reputation for his teams in the biggest games don't play disciplined football.
Yes.
Because the light is so green on offense, they will try anything, and sometimes it'll blow up in Andy's face. So also, in the end, in the biggest games, Andy's teams play with more finesse than force.
It was 1 to 50, but we talked the top 25.
We took the top 25. Go to just 24. 18 of the top 24 players, they're ranking 49ers.
Yes.
Well, they're just better. They're better in both lines. They're more physical in both lines. And defensively, they're just better. I'll even just give you they're a little better than the Chiefs because the Chiefs have come a little bit alive on defense. But now you get to the fact that, to your point, the 49ers have the perfect antidote for Mahomes because their front four as pass rushers, since D Ford came back, remember he missed a big chunk of the regular season, didn't come back until they were hitting the playoffs.
Right.
Have you checked them out, the front four, since the playoffs started? They're virtually unblockable. Did you see what they did to Aaron Rodgers? They were all over him the whole game. They're going to be all over Mahomes. He will not have faced an onslaught like he's going to see on Sunday. And then I don't think that defense has faced an onslaught like they're going to see running the football. Thanks to Mike Shanahan, he has turned Mostert into Terrell Davis, who helped you win 2 rings, right?
Yep.
And it's called outside zone. I don't want to get too X and O here, but it's all bells and whistles. It's a whole lot of motion and a whole lot of misdirection and a whole lot of hocus pocus, right?
Yep.
But it's hard to follow because they'll let Debo carry the football.
Yep.
And by the way, have you seen Debo's numbers? He carried it over the last 7 games. He's carried it 12 times for 171 yards. He's become a force of a runner because he's the most physical receiver on the field, unless you want to throw Kittle in as a tight end.
Right.
But the point is, they're going to run it like crazy. And the Chiefs finished 29th against the run. Yep. They can get bullied by the run, but they did a nice job against Derrick Henry because it's just, here I come. Derrick Henry, I'm just going to run it right up your gut.
He's lining up in the eye. They're going to hand it to him and they're going to toss it to him. There's no razz.
There's no finesse to it at all. It's all down your throat. And so they just set the edge and they said, we're going to funnel you inside and we're going to gang tackle you. And they did a really nice job on it.
Well, Skip, and I agree with everything you said, but the question that I want to have ask people, who do you trust more? You trust Jimmy G more or you trust the Chiefs defense more? Because if you think about it, I believe the Chiefs defense is undisciplined. Of the 9 penalties that they had like 2 weeks ago, they were on the defense.
Okay.
They do things that cause you to lose games. 3rd down, you need to get off the field. You can't grab the guy face mask. You can't let it be 3rd and 21 and you get a ticky-tack penalty and all of a sudden it's a 1st down. You can't do that. They're a very undisciplined ball club. Undisciplined in a game of this magnitude gets you beat.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming over to my side on this.
But here's the thing. But the flip side, Jimmy G. Now, Jimmy G is going to give you 2 opportunities in this game.
He will.
He's going to give you 2. He gave Minnesota 2, they got 1. He gave Green Bay 1, they got none. He will give you an opportunity to come down with the football. And that's what we preached all Greg Robinson, who's the defensive coordinator, Skip, when we were in Super Bowl 32. He said, now, Brett Favre's going to get us opportunities. We just got to make sure we come up with them. Well, he threw an interception. Steve Atwater caught it. We forced a fumble. We got that also. So there'll be opportunities in this game for Jimmy G. But I think this is where they're going to come out, Skip. They think they're going to come out and just run the ball early. It's going to be a lot of bootlegs. It's going to be a lot because that's what Kansas City is expected. Oh, Tennessee just lined up and just tried to run the ball, run over. That's not what Mike and Kyle Shanahan's going to do. You watch. There's going to be a lot of bootlegs. There's going to be a lot of misdirections coming at them early. Then they'll settle in and they'll start trying to run the football down their throat.
Okay, so you say that Jimmy G will give them at least 2 opportunities to intercept the football.
Yes.
I believe if Kyle Shanahan had his druthers in this game, he would give Jimmy G only 2 opportunities to actually throw a pass.
Well, Skip, you
right?
think about
that's all. Like they don't want to throw it. If they could throw none passes, they throw none.
But think about it, Skip. He only threw the ball, what, 10 times against Green Bay, and he put the ball in harm's way once.
Okay.
He only threw the ball a handful of times against Minnesota, and he put the ball in harm's way twice. So it doesn't matter how many times he does it. He's going to, that's just who he is, Skip. He's a little reckless with the football.
Okay. So he is what you used to be. You're seeing I guess it's your worst nightmare come true right before your very eyes, because the Shanahans have recreated your Denver Broncos, who won back-to-back Super Bowls and could have just kept on keeping on, but John Elway decided to step aside,
Correct.
right? So it was Terrell Davis came out of nowhere. He came out of the 6th round like Mostert has come from 6 different teams.
Right.
And again, I'm not saying Mostert's better than Terrell Davis because he's in the Hall of Fame,
right,
and he deserves to be. But Terrell, I didn't see him coming. Nobody saw him coming.
Nobody saw it coming.
And he was, in part, a product of Mike Shanahan's system, because it's the same thing. It's the outside zone read.
Yep.
And you had hellacious blockers, including occasionally Big Play Shea. When they could talk him into throwing 1 block a game, you would throw 1 block. Am I right?
I'll throw a few. Just a few. Skip.
Just a few.
Yeah.
But these guys, these 49er receivers, they gloat after the game about the blocks they threw. I've never seen anything like it. We're in the era of diva receivers. Yeah. We're here in Miami. It's Antonio Brown's hometown. God bless him. I hope he gets some help. But again, we've gone through a series of Odells and ABs. Right. And now we've got Emmanuel Sanders gloating after the game about the blocks he threw, because they know that's how they could win a ring.
Skip, in Super Bowl 32, John completed 12 passes. Well, 5 of them went to me. So how many does that make for Ed and Rod? It's not like we had 45 completions.
Don't egg him on. No. Stop. You're going to egg him on. He's going to start spouting all these stats.
No. But the stat that mattered was TD was 34, buck 50, 73 touchdowns.
Right.
And that's the way, look, that's the way they win this game. Kyle Shanahan has done a great job thus far of being able to hide Jimmy Garoppolo. There have been very few teams that have made him show who and what Jimmy Garoppolo is. If you can't make them show who Jimmy Garoppolo is, you can't beat this ball club, Skip.
Okay, but then you went to Baltimore with Ray Lewis and company.
Yes.
And what happened? You went and won a Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer. No disrespect to Trent. He's a really good guy.
Yes.
But he was not a great player.
Right.
And you got away with beating the New York Football Giants in the Super Bowl, and Trent made a couple of throws. He made one early for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And that was about all you needed, right?
Well, the thing is that they couldn't make Trent throw the ball more than what they wanted him to, because we could run the ball with Jamal Lewis. We could turn around and hand the ball to Jamal, and Jamal get 2, 3, 4, and keep the sticks moving.
It's happening right before your very eyes.
But the one thing that we didn't do, that we forced the other team to do, was turn the football over. We got a pick 6, we got a fumble. And so if you look, when you play a team like Patrick Mahomes, if you can't give him extra possessions. You turn the football over against this team, you see what happens, Skip. You start, and the Kansas City, they're not a big turnover team. They don't force a whole lot of turnovers, but this team does. And they get a lot of them. They got, they forced Aaron Rodgers into 3. They got 5 turnovers in 2 playoff games. So that lets you know they will take the ball away. On the flip side, Tennessee, not so much. That's not how they win games. They win games by putting a ton of pressure on your offense, because Patrick Mahomes, they get going. And next thing you know, it's 28, it's 35, it's 40, it's 50 points. You got to try to keep up with that. And so now all of a sudden you take unnecessary risk. Well, Kyle Shanahan says, we're not going to put ourselves in that situation where we have to take those risks. We believe we can run the football with the number 2 rushing attack against the bottom half run defense. We like our chances. Now, Jimmy, you're probably going to have to throw the ball somewhere between 10 and 15 times. That would be ideal. Skip, they don't want to get the 25, 30, 35 throws.
By the way, speaking of your 3rd Super Bowl, Baltimore against the Giants, I can't remember your stats in that game. Can you help me?
I think I had 1 for 5.
1 for 5.
I'm pretty sure.
Applaud that. Go ahead, applaud. You can applaud. Way to go. Well, 1 for 5. There you go. That's a Hall of Famer. The Hall of Famer caught 1 ball for 5 yards, and they won the Super Bowl.
But what you didn't see, Skip, is that they was doubling me. On that first touchdown to Brandon Stokely, they doubled me and left him one-on-one. Yeah.
That made it all happen.
Yep, that's what it was.
Wow, I lost sight of that. So, in the end, big picture, I'm going to go bigger than you go. I think it's going to be fairly decisive. I'm going to go 31-21 San Francisco, because I think it's going to be apparent early that one team is just better and more physical than the other team.
You do realize Patrick Mahomes, only one time in his career has he scored less than 23 points. And so you said in the biggest game of his career, he only gonna get you 23.
Are you gonna flip again?
No, I'm not gonna flip again.
Huh? Well, if you're angry about it, you can pick them. I give you the right now to switch.
No.
You can switch your pick.
No.
I watched a whole Sunday night game. I just sat there. I was like falling asleep this year. I watched it, and it was at my homeboy. It was in his home.
Yeah.
And I watched him score 13 points against the Indianapolis Colts, who are not in the Super Bowl.
First and only time. First and only time.
Yeah.
It hadn't happened in 36, I think,
Really?
30 plus starts. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, they're up against a force this time, and that includes your former head coach. Thank you for coming over to my side. I appreciate it. Case closed.
Case closed.
You do know, just even if they lose this game, it doesn't dim the light that's on Patrick Mahomes. He's still the best quarterback in football. We agree with that, right?
Oh, I think it's going to dim. Oh, I can't wait about this. Woo.
We'll break it all down.
What if we're both wrong?
Well, then you can't gloat about it.
I can't gloat.
Yeah.
That's he my homeboy.
Shannon, I'm going to speak for every Chiefs fan here. I cannot believe you.
Yeah.
Come on, what about my homeboy?
Come on,
How can you do this?
I believe he will be great, but he's just not going to have enough possession.
Now we're going to get a LeBron memorial. He doesn't have enough help.
All right.
He doesn't have enough help, right?
For the record, I'm going with the Chiefs, just so everyone knows. So someone at this table will be right,
Well,
and it's probably going to be me, because I cannot believe that. Either way, we are going to have a special Super Bowl edition of Undisputed at 11 a.m. Eastern on Fox, so please check us out there. This game is going to be